So hi everyone, welcome to the podcast Talk Creative series. In this podcast, we feature the life of creative practitioners and educators shaping our creative industry. So in this episode, we have Jessica Nagalia Setiawan, founder and director of Zerist Studio, whom I had the pleasure from knowing from our alma mater, Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts, NAFA. Now, having attained her bachelor's degree in fashion design at the University of Hertfordshire, correct me if I'm wrong, she also runs her own design practice and fashion education collective under her art moniker Zerist. So Jess, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your journey into the world of fashion design, please?
Hi everyone, so I'm Jessica Nagalestiawan. You can call me Jessica. And I started my fashion journey from Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts for my diploma, and that I continued to my bachelor degree in the UK, University of Hertfordshire. And also now I'm currently very busy for my business, and also I'm kind of building my personal fashion brand too, which is Zerist too, and it's just a different name from the studio and just the Zerist. And other than that, I think I'm quite passionate for fashion in my whole life, so I think it's just a calling. Yeah.
All right, lovely. Actually, one thing that I've been very curious just to break the ice. How did you get your art moniker Zerist? Because that's something that I've been very curious since forever.
Is it you mean by the name?
Yes.
Okay. So for the name, actually, it's just basically what I've been using for every account in the internet that has been used for the past 20 years, probably. So it's actually funny. It's so not related to fashion or anything. It started when I was playing games with my brothers or playing just any mobile games. And I used the name Zerist because my brother used Zenith. So that was my inspiration basically. And then, yeah, since I like the name, then I used for my Instagram like 10 years ago, probably. And that I found out is not very common. And everyone started to call me Zeris instead of my name, Jessica. So, yeah, let's just make a brand out of it.
Cool. Very nice backstory. Thanks for sharing that now that we know. And yeah, moving on. So back then in NAFA, I understand that you also received quite a number of dean's lists and shall I say wonderful achievements along the way. Like, could you share some moments or key experience that's kind of contributed to those accomplishments? Like, what have you done throughout those times?
Okay, so actually, I'm not the type who stay late to do homeworks and everything. And it's also because I really value time management. And I really think if you want to do good on one side, you have to let go on the other side. So on my early years in NAFA, I didn't actually play with many friends or like hang out with them too much so that I can do my works and actually get the balance uh to do my work in a shorter time but in a better way. So that's what makes my doing assignments, my works, my projects done efficiently. And uh after I kind of understand the foundation and I learned how NAFA actually works with the system and everything, in my late years, around my third years, then I can start hanging out with my actually closer friends, because after 2 years, then you know who your friends are, right? And then, so actually, I only get to hang out a lot after a few years in NAFA. So I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but apparently I'm also a like a homebody. I don't really hang out that much. So, and I think that what contributes to my journey, and I got the awards because of that time management too. I think so.
Right. Well said. Okay. So long story short, 3 years came by and you're done with NAFA. And yeah, when you first told me that you're going to UH, I am happy for you. And also you said you went there because you want to go the should I say, not so nice word, the expressway to get the degree.
Yes,
but
yes.
you get to try something out, and I'm glad your project turned out that way and is being recognized by the industry. Thinking back on that, is there like any culture shock in terms of transferring from Singapore to UK, and sort of what is your general impression by that?
Actually, I was kind of stressing so much during my first 2 months, and I actually didn't expect that I was stressing too much. And I thought I'm the type of person who adapts well, fast, and yeah, blah blah blah. But then turns out I'm a very Asian person. So coming to the Western world is like a new word to me. The system, how the lecturer give it feedbacks, give time, everything is so much different. And that was makes me feels uncomfortable for the first times. But then I kind of balance it like uh I think the time management is the most difficult things to adapt, and that I used to very strict on my time management, right? But they don't. So, and it's not even written in the curriculum that you have to be very strict with your time management too. It's just they really want a very good produced art, very explorative, which I usually don't do very much exploration. It's also because I try to keep myself limited so that I can finish it on time or even faster, right? So that's also the thing that is too much different from me. So after I struggles a lot, then I kind of balance it, maybe not to streak sometimes, and do a little bit more explorations, and that actually makes me so much more flexible. And that now I kind of understand what their value is and so on, so that even now I get like European students or somewhere from Middle East or anywhere, I kind of know how to balance it so they don't get the pressure and I don't get the pressure too. So I think it's a very good experience. Yeah.
All right, lovely. I can agree with that too. I mean, to be fair, of course, I don't have that level of in-depth experience on going to UK as you, because I remember I went there for only like 3 weeks, whereas you immersed there for an entire year. So that level of difference must have been a shock. And I agree with you. Definitely, that culture shock is real, and the level of delivery of lesson, I bet UK is way different from Singapore, and not to mention
Yes.
Indonesia. And I'm glad that that is something that you've gained to yourself in order to push yourself in the industry, especially when you are doing this journey of building your own brand, correct?
Yeah.
Yep, cool. So currently, I understand that you also, while going for your studies in UK, you are also managing and tutoring in your creative education agency, which is Zerist Studio, right? So I bet it must be very demanding balancing the education side and also like being a student yourself. So can I just ask a curious question on how you sort of maintain the balance between being an educator, a remote educator, and at the same time, thriving in your education as an undergraduate student?
Yeah. So apparently, if you, what did I mention before is also that if you want to get very good at something, that you have to let go of one thing, right? We cannot be greedy anyway. So that's why my fashion journey in the UK, it wasn't as much as in my NAFA study, to be honest. Yeah, because I need to balance with my works, especially my works is Indonesia basically, and it has 7 hours differences, and it's very hard for me because Indonesia is faster than the UK. It's not the other way around. So when I actually have my time to teach the work, then I also have my classes on. So that is so much difficult. But thank God that my students are the most of them are night owls. So I get to teach during the evening, and then in Indonesia it was at night, right? But other than that, other than the time differences, that means I also cannot be working on my project too much because it will take my business time too. So that is also the challenge. So what I did was I try to get my sleeping time a little bit earlier. I sleep during 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 or at 5 if I have to work early, so that I have some times that is actually in contrast with Indonesia time, so that there is when I actually has to work on my project. And also, thank God too that UK is kind of in my school, it was very flexible to when you want to do your works and when you want to, it's like an independent study. So that's why I really depends on how I manage everything in time, and still I have time to do some hobbies and to hang out with friends. And yeah, after I actually kind of I didn't go out that much during my first semester because it was kind of like adapting moment, and I also think the time is very cramped. I don't have that much time, so it's better to stay at home and just rest. But after my second year, I mean second semester, that I get kind of the hang. The system is already been formed, then I start to hang out with friends. So I believe if I continue my study there too, it won't be a problem. Yeah.
Great, lovely, lovely. So currently, now that you've graduated from UH and you are sort of back in Indonesia for good, right? So what is your current day to day as a creative practitioner, teaching and also like doing other stuff at the same time?
Yeah, I'm currently, since I just come back from UH2, uh, I really want to focus on doing offline programs for my brand, because it was kind of difficult to do offline programs without me myself back in UK. So now I really am trying to push the limit how many offline events that I can participate on. But other than that, I think after a few months, then after everything is settled and handled, and then I can start to do balancing of online and offline programs. So that's what I'm very busy now from my offline programs, and that I cannot do much of the Zerist fashion design projects as much too. But later on, it will be started too.
Okay, lovely. Could you share a bit of spoilers of what other exciting workshops and collaborations that you would be doing in the near future together with your team? Because let's just be honest, you've been involved in like medias and also recently partnering up with some agencies to create your workshops and creating some live session with friends, which I think that was a very lovely moment and heartening to see. So what's there? What's next in store?
The very close one is that I'm trying to promote, also promote Nanya Academy of Fine Arts too, because it's kind of close to the opening, the registration session, right? It's around September, October, and November. So I'm trying to do my best so that my students and everyone is welcome to get your portfolio ready and blah, blah, blah. And other than that, I think I'm gonna do some workshops around the other city, because last time I tried in Bekasi and Surabaya, and I'm eyeing on Bali and Jakarta. So yeah, let's see if it's gonna happen or not. But other than that, so help I'm trying to open a stand from a bazaar in Tunjungan Plaza Surabaya. So yeah, I really hope that the marketing is actually working too. It's kind of my first time to have this type of offline programs. Yeah, it has been online since the past 2 years.
All right, lovely. I think I'm glad we have shared this sentiment, because actually I'm also helping some agents to help to promote students from the creative industry to go into NAFA and beyond. And I'm glad we have this similar background. But of course, to be fair on your case, yours is more on like online teaching, while mine is dominantly on the offline teaching. So while now you are focusing to bring that offline experience, my priority is now to bring it to online as well. So I believe there's something that we can learn definitely from each other.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you actually brought it up, because like fellow alumni and fellow graduates, and with all these activities that's happening around, it's glad to see that we are both establishing our agencies and setting up our own initiatives. So I'm glad that you really have your own team and your own support to get this through. So it's really, I shall say, it's been a great journey learning from other people and imparting knowledge, especially as us founders and directors of our respective studios.
True.
Yeah. So, all right. So talking about the sneak peeks and also the plans, like in general, how would you envision like using your own personal brand Zerist and also this Zerist studio, how to bring this industry, creative industry or even fashion in general forward? Like what do you see Zerist as part of the bigger picture of the industry in the coming years?
Okay, so I really tried to expand Zerist because it was known for basically fashion education. But now since the demand is quite getting higher and higher, so I started from the digital programs, basics outside of the fashion, and that now graphic design is also coming in, and that's why I named the Zerist Studio Art and Design. It's not basically fashion is not the core. I want to, and that I am also trying to apply for a master degree in art education. So I really hope that this can make their studio open widely to a general studies too, not just fashion, basically.
Cool, lovely. So, in case it's something that is, wow, you just make me excited for another master's program. So, where would you be planning to go to masters? Anytime soon? Through 3 years? I don't know.
I'm trying to apply on next January, so next year early, yeah, on spring, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. UH again or another place?
No, I'm trying to get an online master program from Boston University, and it's yeah, the art education online program. It's very known well, and they even have six entries in a year, so it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, online. So that means the entire course is gonna be done virtually while you're sharing your portfolio and progress. The lecturers there are gonna like give some critiques and feedbacks. I guess so.
Yes, I believe so. But art education is more learning a lot of theories because we'll be learning about advocacy and policy, and then child growth and everything. So I am very interested because I've been practicing a lot on practical works. So I really am down for theoretical education. So yeah, that's why I'm very much interested to learn something more theoretical because it's very new to me too.
Okay. Out of curiosity, what drives you to, I mean, aside from learning the theory, after doing the practice, like what are the other reason of you pursuing masters per se? Because you told me that, with bachelors, you had in mind that you want to set a certain example to your students that, you have what it takes, you are qualified and you have explored enough to be in bachelors. So why push it through to masters again?
Yeah, also because I think I have one student that actually applied for a master degree in UAL, and thank God she got in. But then I'm not very confident in the future if there will be many more master degree students, and also that the child students, I was not very confident in that part yet. So that's what really makes me urgently wants to study more. And also that because I don't like, like the fact that when you think that I don't know, yeah, I don't like being not know of something that is actually my specialty. So that's why I really want to know more so that I can give more better services to. And yeah, it's just basically I have a thirst for more education in my in within myself. Yeah.
Understand. That's fair enough. I think that's a great idea, and I hope that's something that your student can appreciate on your end as well. Because, like, admittedly, yes, for better or for worse, I've had master student in my hand as well, whom I'm mentoring with in to prepare them to go to university at the postgraduate level. On one hand, I think it's justifiable that you want to upgrade yourself and self-learning, and I think that is a very great idea. On a side note, I also do believe that, even as educators, we may not always have a lot of answers in hand. We may not be the no to. We may not be the person who does know everything, because, like it or not, there are sometimes even the youngsters know better than us in the future. So what gives? So my point is that sometimes it's okay not to know everything, and it's an avenue to learn from each other. So one thing that I always advocate is that I try not to spoon feed my student too much with information, like telling them what to do and what not to do. Sometimes I even give them hints like, okay, you might want to look into this one, and yeah, you let me know what you think about it. So it becomes more of an information exchange, or more of like to stimulate their learning process rather than just give them answers. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, techniques wise, it's something that you have to demo and practice and show it to them on what can be done. But at the same time, there are also stuff that it may not be on our specialty, and that they are curious on how we think about it. So it's more of an exchange of information that I think that's integral in terms of this education system. It's not so much of giving answers and claim that we know everything. Otherwise, it'll be too easy. Yeah, that's how I see things in general, especially in my ways of imparting knowledge.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also that the fact that we actually learn from our student too, it always fascinates me, and it actually makes me want to teach more and more every day. Yeah,
Absolutely. I think students are basically our motivators, and sometimes our bigger teacher more than university. Yeah.
exactly. I think so too.
All right. So of course, this is something that's more personal on your end here, which is gonna be the last two questions, or maybe even the last question, depending on your answers. So thinking ahead, like, what advice would you give to your current mentees, students, or juniors who are aspiring to pursue fashion or the arts and design scene in general?
Okay, so after I have my several types of students, then I think the most important thing is that when you really want it, you should do it well. And you shouldn't do something that is half-heartedly and not sincerely. So it's because there are type of students that is actually more hardworking and some of it more talented, but they don't do much hard works. And yeah, that's really makes a lot of difference. So putting any more plus one effort is so much differences that can decide where you are in probably 1 year or like 5 years more. So I think the very first step, every single steps you take is very much included in your journey in the future. So I think my only advice is that stop dragging things and start to do it earlier as possible. When you have the thoughts, then just do it and don't wait for any perfect moment, because there won't be perfect moment. There is only now or too late. Yeah, that this kind of advice I would say. But other than that, I think yeah, everyone kind of know it already.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a very wonderful advice on your end, especially like students who you push the students to be sort of who seize the moment to actually pursue their interests. I think that's very lovely. And a lot of people actually do begin from that certain milestone in which they have to be sure, and they have to really feel something so strongly that they just pursue it. I mean, thinking back, going into NAFA or going into the creative industry in general is not something that is very favorable, especially in a country where profit, result, and money are actually of the high priority rather than pursuing creative excellence. So I definitely feel you, and I can see that we are actually doing something that still pays back to the industry, at the same time doing something that we are liking. And I do hope that this is something that the students will be able to kind of find a certain path in order that they're passionate to, so that they can chase for it and they can do better, hopefully more so than us.
Yes, and it also, I think they really, a lot of them actually am afraid that making mistakes is a huge problematic thing, right? And I would say that making mistakes is also part of the first steps, that if you want to learn how to walk, you have to learn how to fall first. And everything takes time. So that's why actually lately I've been what is that called? Valuing quantity more than quality, because after you get very short in your quantity process, then eventually you will get the quality. But if you wait for your perfection in skills and everything, then you start doing it, it might be too late, because without quantity you actually cannot reach that much quality too. So that is actually what my some of them is actually afraid of too, making bad arts, or what they call it, bad arts, or not so good, not so perfect art. But actually it doesn't really matter because that's the steps and it takes time. It always takes time.
All right,
Yeah.
lovely. I think it's very important that you talk about the quantity versus quality kind of thing, because it's always been a very long-standing conflict between which one you should prioritize at a certain point of time. So I think that's very great that you bring it up. Lastly, this is actually for yourself, actually, like an advice of to your younger self. Like, is there any like valuable lesson that you've learned along the way, or now that you're in a certain position of like creative industry, that you wish to tell your maybe like 17 years old self, 18 years old self before starting in this art journey, or maybe like before you even got this spark of joining the fashion industry?
Okay. So actually in the creative side, I really am grateful with everything I have come to. And I think without these events that is actually lining up to my current position, I wouldn't get here too. But if I want to say to my younger self, I would love myself to actually go buy a book and learn more because I used to hate books so much that I cannot read a single page. I will get asleep after 2 page or not even two. Yeah, but now that the facts that books is actually so much more, it's crazy how you can finish one book and what information you can get. And also, I started to read a book in Singapore during my NAFA journey. And because NAFA also led me to actually come to library a lot of times and get familiar with books and everything, and that I get to a new world where information is so much more valuable and accessible in books. And I would love my younger self to actually learn a lot from books, not just art books, probably some self uh, enrichment books, some discipline books, or leadership, or anything that yeah, if I read that much before, I might have known so much more than my current self right now. So that is my only advice to my younger self.
Okay, lovely. I think for me, my only advice for myself is don't be afraid of failure. I think being in a very high performing class and also achievements is sort of like achievement sort of like taking a doll out of a baby's hand is that easy, right? It's not the easiest to embrace the process of failing and screwing up and seeing that some things might not just turn out the way that you wish to be. So being in this creative scene is there's a lot of uncertainties as opposed to like courses that are more exact, such as engineering, STEM, mechanics, and even chemistry, which deals with things that are exact. Ours are more on the uncertainties and explorations that ultimately shapes the quality of our artwork. So yeah, I think failure is it's okay to fail, especially in learning, so that the more you fail, the more that you can actually learn. Yeah, that's something that I'll give to myself lah. But yeah, in any case, once again, thank you, Jess, for the sharing and talking about all these things that I know I wouldn't have been able to get it on my own. And it's really glad to have you actually do the talking and sharing your experience. And yeah, just keep on going. I think you have what it takes with your brand and also your current master studies. So I wish you all the best on that part.
Thank you so much for having me today. I also hope everything goes well on your side too. And I really am looking forward for more events from your side too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's
Yeah.
something that is only a matter of time. Actually, I have a lot of things that's happening in my mind as we are speaking right now. So we'll discuss this in private. So no worry, no worry. We'll take our
Sure.
time. Yeah, all right. So in any case, once again, thank you to Jess and thank you to everyone that watches this. And do share what topic or who else that you love to have in this podcast. Stadium and Antonius from Top Creative. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.